Well, it finally happened. The Liz Cambage tape finally got released. It was only a matter of time now that it got leaked, and it was News Limited that got a copy of the tape and anonymous sources saying that she reportedly, allegedly called the Nigerian player or players monkeys or a monkey or something to that effect. Now, this is alleged. Liz Cambage has denied this on her Twitter, saying that it's the Australian media coming after her, and it's just all not real good. So I think this is the final chapter in this. Well, no, Liz Cambage. It will never end, I guess, but I think this almost brings an end to the affair of what happened during the Olympics and I guess her connection to Australian basketball. So first of all, the videotape of her catching the Nigerian player with the elbow, it's a pretty brutal elbow that she threw. Unfortunate for me, I just did one the other night, a video saying how she was hard done by on the elbow that she threw against the when the Sparks played. Who did the Sparks play? They played the Fever, and she threw an elbow during that game, and I sort of downplayed it, saying it was worse that a player undercut her. So that probably doesn't look real well in light of this one. This one, I don't know. This one just looked more brutal because you could tell they were going after it. And it looks like she sort of loaded up and threw that elbow pretty damn hard. And as well, they had pictures of the Nigerian player's neck, and it had sort of like lacerations to it because she elbowed her so hard with the elbow, like it sort of caused a bit of bleeding, I guess. But the video is not great for Liz, and then it sort of just recaps everything that's happened. I suggest if you want to get your head around this, the best way to do it is, I guess it's self promotion. I guess I apologize, but yeah, if you want to have a good idea of how this is played out, then you should go through my videos. The first one is sort of the 5 reasons Australia hates Liz Cambage, and that sort of outlines sort of from the very beginning how she missed one of the practices for a music festival and then how she got in it with Andrew Bogut in their Twitter spat. And that one's he's taking he's taking victory laps right now. Well, he says he's not, but he is. He's they've come to him and he's like, I knew it was filthy what she said, and I knew, I believed in the people that it was awful and it shouldn't be excused on mental health grounds. So he's definitely not taking a back step to this, but that's the first video you should watch is the 5 reasons Australia doesn't or hates Liz Cambage. That sort of outlines the 5 issues, and that leads into the Olympics where she pulls out, and where that video ends. It's sort of a question of how will the Opals do at the Olympics. If she leaves and they have success, then it'll sort of be the team overcoming the one diva player. If the Australians go bad, then it'll be her fault that the Australian Opals went bad at the Olympics. And that's exactly what happened. But funny enough, I thought it would come out when Basketball Australia did their investigation. And that leads to the next video where Basketball Australia during the Olympics, we're going to investigate this and get to the bottom of it and, see what happens. Well, after that, they did their investigation, and then that's where I've done a whitewash video. When they released that investigation, it said absolutely nothing. Like they came out and basically said something was done. She needs a formal reprimand, which we'll give her, and we're just going to move on. She's been formally reprimanded. And everybody's just like, what the hell happened here? You didn't give any information on what happened. But and I thought at the time that they were hoping to get her to play in the World Cup. So that was my thought is that they're trying to sweep this under. They still think there's a chance she might play in the women's basketball World Cup that'll be in Sydney in September. So and then Cambage came out and said she absolutely had zero interest in playing for the Opals again. And at that point, I thought, wow, okay, this is where they're going to start leaking stuff. And I've put this in the next video that sort of outlines the next chapter of this. So, I thought after after she said she had zero interest, I thought they were going to come out and sort of start leaking information, but nothing came out. Nothing came out at pretty much at all. It was still just sort of speculated and whispered. It sounded like people knew, but they wouldn't go on the record with it. And then Cambage, she just couldn't let it rest, unfortunately for her, I think. Like she just needed to let that, you know, let the sleeping dog sleep. But no, she kicked it because when she got to the Sparks, she couldn't help herself telling everybody how happy she was with the Sparks and how supported she was. You know, initially she took sort of passive aggressive sort of swipes at the Opal players and Opal management saying, you know, how wonderful it was and she was living her best life in LA and everything else. And then she went a little bit further in one of the interviews saying, you know, the Opals had never supported her and, you know, her mental health was, you know, not helped by the Opals management of her. And that's what sort of triggered the next stage where Jenny O'Hay comes out on the record and says, confirms what transpired at the scrimmage. And the reason she did this is she's been a long advocate for mental health. And I think the final straw for her was when Cambage sort of said she wasn't supported. Um, so I've done a video on it, Jenny O'Hay versus Liz Cambage. Check it out. That gives really background on why somebody finally went on the record. So this video was just sort of a brief overview of what transpired. If you want the full details, then I would say click on the playlist and it'll sort of go in a real deep dive on how this all transpired from the very beginning. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, please leave a like. Um, and I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel grow and allows me to produce more content. All right, thank you. Goodbye.